And I also did a bit of more homework on him after this hand and realised he's a multi-pabler, very taggy. But I liked to play this in position, so I think that's a bit dubious by me, but you know, position does count a huge amount in this game. So the flop comes down 6, 7, 6, 2 hearts to bear. Now, has my opponent got a 6? Would be very surprised the way he's played it. Has he got a pair of 7s? Again, unlucky. Has he got bullets? Very possible, or kings. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, 19 in the middle. He bets 10. It's not a big bet. You see that? But you would do that if you had 2 pairs. So yeah, I like to call that, which is fine. The 3 comes down, and then he checks. Standard looking, weak, right? He's bet once. He's now checked me, opening the door up for me to go, alright, well, I'll have a wee bet here. Okay, and again, I haven't got much of a read on this guy, but I did after this hand. This is a very, very typical no limit hold'em play here from this person. So I bet 22.50 into the middle, thinking, nah, I can take this off this guy. Only for him to come ramming it right down my throat, and I'm thinking, you son of a... You know what I mean? Now, I can gamble here. I can gamble, but I am gambling if I call this off. Alright, and I thought, you sod, I should have just checked on the turn there just to make him, you know what I mean? Keep it low, get the free card, try and get to the flush, and then check, call him on the river, and see what happens. Because if he's got kongs, or aces, I'm damn sure he's going to bet for me on the river. If he's got the 6, or a pair of 7s, then I'm just doing pot control to try and stop the damage there. But that was a bitch, and I thought, very tag play this was, and I thought I fell into that one. But again, I had no read on him before this hand properly, and I thought, well, all right, you get one chance. That shows me, and I folded the hand at that point. Not prepared to gamble on going for the flush when I may be facing a 6 over here. Could be 7-7, but I did actually thought, well, that's possibly aces or kings. So I elected to get out of the way of that one. And again, 40 bucks down there, so not great. So same table, this one here, out of position, 6, 7, 8, 8, 1 part suited. We get a raise from Logists. We get a call here on the button by Cronin. I'm in the big blind here, and I think, well, nah, that hand's good enough to call to see the flop. Flop comes down, look at that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, bare flops. The nuts at this moment in time. And I like to check. I pause for silence. I pause for silence because I honest to God thought I'm going to get a bet here. And when he checked, I went, oh shit. And then when Cronin checked, I went, oh double shit. And you can imagine, I've just broken one of my own cardinal rules and pieces of advice I've given out to you. Never ever slow play in Pot Limit Omaha. Don't give free cards. It's just suicide. $9.50 in there. I need to bet that out. If I get repopped, I can flat call, and then I like to either fold on the turn or commit everything on the turn if I get a safe card. Criminal play here by Bear, in my opinion. Criminal. And when both of them check, I'm thinking, shit. Anyway, the Queen of Hearts comes down now, okay? And I'm thinking, alright, I've still got a chance here. I'll bet the full pot now. Well, I'll put $9 in, okay? Logist calls me off. Cronin backs off, and I'm going, oh God, no, oh God, please, no spade, no spade, no spade. And a heart comes, and I'm going, nah. 27 in the middle. So obviously I'm cacking myself here saying, please God, no, right? And he bets 21, and I'm thinking, bastard. That's the flush, isn't it? I said, he's got run a flush, and that's just served me right for what I did on the flop. And I'm thinking, or has he missed the spade flush? And I thought, nah, he's got the heart flush. Well, I'm going to punish myself. I'm going to call it off and punish myself for playing the flop like a muppet. And needless to say, look at that, guys. Ace, 7 of hearts. Pants. However, the question to ask is, on the flop, would he have called me off with 1 heart there, backdoor nut flush, run, when there's 4-7 in his hand? Because look, 4, 5, 6, 7. Could he, or would he have called off a full pot bet from me? So It's only $9, remember, when the stacks are this deep, to try and catch the donkey end of the straight. If he did call me off, then he would have guaranteed calling off another full pot bet on the turn, and I would have sloughed my whole stack. So it's the only consolation I gave myself when I looked at this hand again, thinking, would he have called $9 on the flop with a rubbish draw? Possibly, because he's got the runner backdoor flush here. So he may well have snuck that. Once the heart comes, guarantee you he's going all the way. So the only consolation, like I said, there is I may have saved myself a stacking by misplaying the flop. But again, one of the cardinal mistakes here, people, is Bear's showing you that just now, is giving free cards and slow playing when you've got the hand. Bet it out, man. Don't do that. So there's a valuable piece of advice. So there you go. I've shown you a few losing hands there, people, on that one. This is the day. This has got just 4 sessions I've got here. One was this one I'm showing you now is the day before. So this is the table that basically I actually won $30 on. Okay, so we'll show you a few winning hands here, and let's just look at a few things here. So we're betting under, raising under the gun here. We're going to call here by shorty in the big blind. Sorry, the big blind on the button. Big blind feed me some more calls, and the flop comes down Jack Queen 2. So Bear here with middle pair. Redraw opportunities is a backdoor nut flush. King there giving me the straight. So you're thinking, okay, you know, possible 2-pair as well, depending on what comes on the turn. So we get a check here. Obviously, I bet nearly full pot at that flop. Shorty gets out of the way. Big blind calls. Turn comes, giving me now my straight, which is cool. So I have the nuts here. 25 in the middle. Feed me senor there. Checks to me again. So I put 20 in. I think that's just about the right bet here if he's drawing or chasing. He calls me off. 4 of clubs comes on the river. He's got 26 left. He checks to me. We put them all in. And feed me senor calls me off. So we get his full stack. Let's have a wee look at what he had. And he flopped 2-pair. Okay, so I've bet the flop and he flat called it. Now, if he repopped me, what's the odds of me folding that hand? Well, potentially very high, because I'm really calling off on a gut shot. Do you know what I mean? So again, he misplayed the flop in my opinion in that situation. Bear there winning $58 off my opponent, who was not prepared to fold 2-pair, and a dodgy 2-pair at that. So there's a good example of somebody else misplaying the flop potentially, kill a card on the turn, and then stacking off, not preparing to fold his 2-pair. So next hand I'm looking at here, on the button here, King 9-7, 1 part suited, raise on the button. We get out of position, Luckaroo calling off. Logistics get out of the way, and we flop the second nut flush. Well, alright, it's dangerous. Obviously ace 2 would be just criminal, and typical Bear luck. So we get a check, bet half the pot, gets called, 2 comes out, check, bet 10, so just over half, get called, ace on the river there, 36 in the middle, check, and I'm thinking, nah, no way would the nuts check here unless it's been super dirty. 36 in the middle, and I thought 22.50. If he's got any small form of small flush or straight, 22.50 with his stack behind him, just enough for him to call me off, I reckon. And he does flat call me there. And look at that, 10-10, 4-2. Sorry, 10-10, Jack 4-2 double suited. Again, not a disaster hand, but on that flop, he's calling off on the jack flush all the way, which is a bit of a bitch. You know, both of us flopping the flush there, and he's not got the nuts. So a bit of lucky there for him there, but $38 into Bear's piggy bank. I'll not complain considering some of the piss luck I've had on the other table. So next hand, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a few minutes and run through a few basic things that we've seen in this session, and then when we go into the slightly smaller stick session, I'll talk over again. So what I'm doing is I'm playing some hands, giving you some ideas. Hopefully you appreciate what I'm coming from here. So I'm giving you some ideas, playing some hands, mentioning a few mistakes along the way, suggesting a few things, and then we're going to stop, pause, summarize, if you know what I'm coming from. Okay, so we've got a raise here, bay here, double suited aces. We're talking daddy material, this is. That's a top hand. Well over 40 points in the Hutchison system. So we're repopping this puppy. Louis, with only 33 behind him, elects to go. The flop comes down, bear has the top set again, and I'm saying, don't show me a heart on the turn, and if he's got 2-3, then I'm just going to squeal like a pig. Okay, so it's boom, get it in. Louis goes for it. Heart comes and I'm going, oh, for God's sake. No way. Surely not. And then boom, river, and I'm going, yeah, dancer. And let's have a look at what he had. And yes, I was right. He did have the flush draw. It's not actually a bad hand if you look at it again. Double suited hand, suited ace, suited queen. He flops top pair. He's got the second nut flush redraws when he commits his hand. Question is, how far behind is he on that flop? Let's find out, shall we? So let's bring it back. So pre-flop, double suit versus double suit. Let's look at the odds here. And bear 66 to 33. Now a lot of people won't realize that. They'll look at that and think, oh, that's a really pretty hand. All right, I'm going to call him off. Right, it's like one of my hands I showed you earlier on when I had one part suited, and I think it was a dodgy call. I think it was the ace queen one I mentioned to you. This is pretty pretty dodgy if you're up against good aces, which is what I have here. Simply because if he spikes an ace, it's no good to him. Right, 66 to 33. He is a long way behind under the normal rules. 60-40, remember? It's not disastrous for him, and he needs a really big flop to come into it. But like I said, if he spikes the ace, I've got set if he's put me on aces, and that's what you've got to take into account. So if we get it to the flop here, alright, now the key thing, is he drawing to the nuts? Well, it all depends on what happens to the board if I've got a set. And this is the thing is, he's got to ask himself the question, if I've repopped him, is he chasing a flush when a set is already on the board? Do you know what I mean? So it's 68-31 to me, so he's technically a decent way behind in this game. And calls off his whole stack on that. I can understand why he does it, but he's not thinking what I've got, he's thinking what he's got. And that's something you need to think about in Pot Limit Omaha is, don't get distracted by the pretty cards in front of you. It's so easily done, man. I've done it myself on more than one occasion where you think, oh, that looks fantastic. Because you've got to put yourself on your opponent's seat and think, well, what's he playing? What's his range? What's he got? And what is he going to pump me with? And if I'm pumping that with top set, then he's gambling big styley, calling off his stack basically on that. So interesting hand there, and one which is nasty, don't get me wrong, it's super nasty, but it gives you an idea about what I'm talking about, drawing to the nuts. So there's a note there, remember that one, drawing to the nuts. So bringing it back here, look at this, bear again. Now I hope you're starting to see a wee common theme here. The vast majority of hands I've shown you have been decent hands. So again, make a note of that if you've got any notepad out there. Starting hand requirement, okay? It's decent hands. And I am playing it a certain way and with a certain percentage call rate, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's play this hand out, and then we'll get down to this little notepad thing I've got in front of me. So we're raising here on the button, right? Again, really decent aces here. One part suited, two pair in my paw, and we get repopped here by Louis. Remember, it's the same guy. Okay, so we're going, okay, Mr. Louis, it's a khaki repop for a start, $5. I mean, am I going to fold for $2 in position? Doesn't matter if I had the khackiest of hands out there. I'm going to call him in position for $2. So that's pants. Alright? So we repump him, thinking, well, alright, Louis, on tilt, aren't you, mate? Come on, shove your stack. So he calls me off. He's only got $16 left. The flop comes down. Bear's got two pair, not flush draw. And unless he spiked to 5, I got to be monster favourite here. So he checks. It's all in. Louis, and he goes after me, and I'm like thinking, thanks very much, mate. Really do appreciate it. 5 comes, giving me the nut full house. Just don't show me a 5 in your paw. King comes, and what's he got? And again, remember what I said about getting distracted by pretty cards? You know, there's a pretty hand. It's an absolute dog against mine. Okay, double suited card with an ace and a king. Looks fabulous. Pair in his paw. How bad is he pre-flop to me? Well, let's have a look at this. Great little odds thing this one is. Look at that, guys. 70 to 29. Now, when you drop below 30% in